More than 40 million Americans enter grocery stores each week with the belief that they are trustworthy, hygienic, and safe. However, there are risks that no one alerts you about hidden beneath those happy price tags. What if the milk you gave your grandchildren this morning had been kept for days at dangerous temperatures? What if the extra cost fresh chicken turned out to be thawed, frozen, and weeks beyond its best? While these businesses continue to smile behind billion-dollar brands, complaints, recalls, and concealed infractions are mounting across the nation. Every incorrect purchase is more than simply a waste of money for elderly people with fixed incomes who must balance their medications. They can't afford to lose this health risk. The terrifying portion comes next. The shops that cut the deepest corners could be the ones you trust the most. The truth becomes personal in this devastating story. Don't become upset or panic just yet, because at the end of each segment, we'll show you the safer substitutes for the 7 grocery chains that Americans no longer trust. First place, Dollar General. It's amusing how much rot can be concealed by something painted sunny yellow. Dollar General silently deals out the kind of dangers that would strangle a health inspector on their paperwork while flashing its bright banners like carnival lights at the border of a ghost town, promising everything for less. The business has acted as a safe haven for millions of working class and retired Americans who are trying to stretch every dollar till it squeals. However, what lies within frequently resembles the aftermath of a meat locker power outage. You might think you've stumbled onto a horror movie set where the villain is flying and invisible if you stroll through their freezer aisles. Your milk may already be a bacterial soup, and your frozen chicken may be planning its retaliation, as inspectors have frequently noted that their coolers are far beyond safe temperatures. It's not only dangerous for elderly people whose immune systems already feel like dead batteries, but it's also like playing blindfolded hopscotch on a minefield. Dollar General wears the embarrassment like a cheap fragrance, but the headlines haven't been nice either. As if their calendars got stuck back when disco was still in vogue, stores have been caught selling expired goods, sometimes by months rather than by days or weeks. When consumers opened canned green beans, they discovered that the caps were rusty and that the contents was a viscous dark substance that appeared to have crawled out of an oil drum from a junkyard. Meat has been seen perspiring beneath its plastic wrap, as if it knew it was living on borrowed time, and mold has appeared on bread as if it had paid rent. This is not an isolated incident. Rather, it is the result of a supply system that is so preoccupied with cutting costs that it is now slicing away at public health like a rusty blade. Naturally, business suits continue to smile from their glass towers while making formal declarations that resemble denial perfumed with lemon. And those bargains that entice you like a porch light attracts moths? The majority are barcode-based optical illusions. Maybe the $1 detergent is half as big as the bottle you'd get elsewhere. Or Stolz Vitae, which means you'll return twice as frequently and use it up twice as quickly. It's similar to selling leaking umbrellas. You keep getting wet, so you keep buying. In the meantime, the business grinds down its own employees to save money. One lone worker manages the cashier, replenishes shelves, cleans up spills, and handles complaints all at once in many Dollar General locations, which operate on skeleton personnel. The facility becomes less like a store and more like a forgotten roadside trap, lighted by dying fluorescent lamps, as cleanliness falls and customer service disappears. This is the cruelest joke of all for elderly Americans already caught in the vice of dwindling Social Security checks, rising rents, and grocery costs that are more painful than a winter gas bill. Dollar General offers more than simply low-cost products. The tiny print on that delusion is risky, and it promotes the idea of rescue. Second place, make a lot of savings. A name that croons about saving like Santa Claus for the elderly. Save a lot sounds like a promise whispered to wallets on life support. When you walk in, though, it feels more like someone wearing a sale tag and less like a store. These shops have established up in America's forgotten zip codes, posing as lifelines for low-income families and seniors when, in fact, they are more like booby traps disguised as savings. The illusion begins to deteriorate in real time as soon as you push your squeaky cart into the vegetable section. When they arrive, bananas are so battered that they appear to have lost a boxing match. Like stress balls in a crowded office cubicle, tomatoes squish, as well as the meat. Good grief, the meat frequently comes in mystery slabs wrapped in shrink wrap that appear to have been thawed and frozen more times than a comedy rerun. Before you even reach the checkout line, the revelations made by former employees about what causes this horror are enough to make your stomach turn. According to reports, a large number of Save-A-Lot stores take in merchandise that other brands have rejected. As the freshness boat sank, and products that didn't simply miss it waved goodbye. Like wolves masquerading as cheap lambs, these products are frequently repackaged, relabeled, and sneaked onto shelves. The unofficial motto was, "If it smells okay, it's okay." One former cashier even acknowledged that they were instructed to apply new stickers over ones that had expired. Not only is that careless, but it's a biological time bomb concealed beneath a price tag. Consider playing Russian roulette, but with tonight's dinner as the trigger and a deli counter as the gun, for senior citizens whose immune systems are already teetering precariously. Are there three? This is not frugal. Rather, it's a game of roulette where the stake is your health. However, the irony continues to grow like a pothole outside the municipal hall. No one points out the fine print, even though the store's prices could look like a deal. Food poisoning hospital bills are not sold. Weeks' worth of Social Security benefits can be consumed in a single ER visit more quickly than these merchants can refill their damaged cans. Your doctor may refer to what they term inexpensive, Rathin or Fort Skenlow, or F. Grit Ewing as evidence. It appears like the actual space is designed to be exhausted. The shelves loom overhead like they were made for NBA scouts. The aisles are so small you could lose a shoe trying to get through. And the lighting is so gloomy it could pass for a haunted home. Do you need assistance? Ignore it. Asking for help feels like asking someone balancing chainsaws to offer you a spoon, because the skeleton crew that runs the facility is frequently so overworked. Save-A-Lot turns into a terrible contradiction for elderly customers, many of whom are already dealing with hurting joints, deteriorating vision, and the nagging worry that the world is going too quickly without them. It grasps safety with one hand and dangles hope with the other. The company feeds on the idea that low costs equate to mercy, preying on need like a vulture circling a desolate highway. But you begin to see the humor when the chicken hisses suspiciously when it hits the pan and the banana turns to mush in your palm. Not much is being saved by you. You're risking everything. 3. Food Lion. Food Lion was formerly the crown jewel of Southern supermarket monarchy, the type of establishment where elderly customers could walk around shiny aisles without fearfully gripping their wallets. However, entering many Food Lion locations these days is more like seeing a stage play where the props are rotting and the actors have forgotten their lines than it is like seeing a familiar neighbor. The most upsetting thing is that the prices, which were previously their proud banner, have gradually increased to the point where they are now catching up to their full-priced rivals. Complaints have been mounting more quickly than their weekly flyers. It's not just disheartening for working-class Americans and seniors who already perform grocery math like military triage. The treachery doesn't stop at the register. It's a betrayal with a name tag. It may be admissible as evidence because some Food Lion shops have been found to be selling meat that is dubious. Customers have complained about packages of chicken and beef that smell like they come from the back of a radiator and are strewn with gray. One senior even purchased a fresh label rotisserie chicken this morning, but when they cut into it at home, they discovered that the middle was quite chilly and that the underside was oozing. Dinner isn't that. A malpractice exhibit like that is just ready for a courtroom. Once the pride of the lion's den, the deli counter has devolved into a gloomy mockery of itself. Slicers are frequently left uncleaned in between usage, and staff members have acknowledged feeling under pressure to prepare food without thoroughly cleaning their tools. Your turkey might arrive as a result. A cross-contamination cocktail that might make an elderly person's immune system spin like a bingo cage, with a covert appearance from last week's roast meat. Food Lion is lagging behind like it's caught in supermarket quicksand as competing businesses introduce elder hours, loyalty discounts, and healthier options. Their in-store signage seems to have been created by someone who has never been inside the store. Their digital coupons sometimes fail to scan, and their reward program reads like tax law. Imagine searching for oatmeal as though it were a hidden treasure, but with the map printed in invisible ink and upside down. This is inconvenient for elderly customers who have hurting joints and fading patience. It's shopping masquerading as sabotage. Then there is the issue of hygiene, which is a term that should never be used in a food establishment. Customers have complained about filthy facilities that appear to have been last cleaned during the problems, and other Food Lion locations have received citations for mold growth inside walk-in refrigerators. Inhaling close to a moldy cooler might cause more than just distaste. It can also lead to hospitalization. However, these issues continue to be ignored, or, more precisely, ignored behind the shelves. Routine, not quality, is the key to their existence. Food Lion capitalizes on the ease of familiarity, understanding that many seniors will continue to visit because it's comfortable, close, and what they've always done. However, that comfort can stealthily deplete your finances and jeopardize your well-being. Trust your instincts if you've ever entered a store and had the uneasy feeling that something is off. You're not only paying for food when your shopping become a guessing game, you're also paying for the privilege of taking a chance. And it's time to call it what it is if Food Lion has subtly compromised safety for convenience. It's a well-worn trap with a smiling logo, not your local grocery store. 4. The name Albertsons seems like the name of a bank president, and you would think that a place with that name would smell of trust and polished wood. However, when you remove the glossy exterior, you are met with disappointment disguised as order rather than luxury. The truth, often weeks past its prime, awaits someone's cart to bring it home, like a Trojan horse of sorrow, behind those broad aisles and gentle intercom voices that murmur like lullabies. This is not just inconvenient, but also betrayal on sale with a smile for older buyers who are meticulous, frugal with their money, and rely on routine like a metronome. The most ironic punchline occurs in the produce section. From a distance, everything appears colorful, like to a stage shot in a retirement magazine. But up close, the cracks show. Avocados perform their terrible magic trick, celery bends like old radio antennas, and lettuce wilts like yesterday's promises. Rock hard. Former workers have acknowledged that management are under pressure to maintain shelves looking full, even if it means letting somewhat ruined fruit sit out since it looks great from the top, even when the liquid guacamole is served at lunchtime. Painting over rust and praying it holds is the grocery equivalent of that. And don't believe that the aisles with packed goods provide a secure haven. With their alleged deals, Albertsons has been charged with engaging in sticker shell games. $5 for a box of crackers with 2 on it? That pricing is only available if you purchase both. Like a casino that grins while keeping your chips, if you buy one, it costs the entire amount. Even worse, Albertsons continues to utilize small, crowded paper labels with fine lettering that is better viewed under a lawyer's magnifying glass, whereas contemporary stores use digital tags that are truly readable. That isn't a discount for elderly people who need to wear bifocals, it's a course with obstacles. Speaking of challenges, let's discuss accessibility basics, the things that ought to be as reliable as dawn, doors that open on their own, retail anchors that roll rather than drag. When your knees begin to struggle with gravity, use benches to catch your breath. However, several Albertsons shops nationwide have come under fire for failing to uphold even these fundamentals. Scooters that are broken lie around like abandoned bumper cars. For maintenance, the restrooms are locked. Staff members merely shrug and provide company phone numbers as consolation prizes, as if they were protecting national secrets. In addition to being annoying, that lack of concern is a slap wrapped in customer service silence for senior consumers who are already balancing pillboxes, doctor's visits, and shopping budgets that feel thinner than receipt paper. If you can locate it, the customer service itself follows next. Workers are frequently so overworked that they are almost invisible, running between registers and replenishing supplies like competitors on a game show that no one wants to win. Seniors claim that when they ask for assistance getting to items or finding objects that have been moved throughout the store, they are dismissed. Nothing says, "Welcome to autumn," like making grandmother play hide and seek with Miss Chicken Noodles. One woman told how she spent 20 minutes looking for canned soup, only to discover that it had been moved across the store for a seasonal reset. Albertsons has unwittingly turned into the exact opposite, a maze dressed in manners for senior citizens who simply want a store to be stable, transparent, and secure. In order to keep you from hearing the creak of the eroding truss beneath your feet, it charges high rates, offers budget headaches, and covers the entire experience with courteous music. The 5th, Kroger. Under those bright blue letters and dazzling yellow signage, Kroger welcomes you like a well-maintained airport terminal. It's roomy, contemporary, and full of options. But after 3 steps inside, the illusion begins to falter like a shopping cart with a broken wheel. Kroger may seem like just another large box store to younger consumers. It has evolved into something darker for elders, a slowly changing maze created by someone who obviously believes that grocery shopping ought to resemble an obstacle course from a game show. The layout is where the issue starts. With its shelves, Kroger can't help but play musical chairs, changing items all the time for seasonal sales. The eggs are snuggled up next to the milk one week, and then they move to a nest beside the pet food the next. Every trip becomes a scavenger hunt with fluorescent illumination and painful knees because signs hardly ever update on time. In addition, the lighting will confuse you if the store layout doesn't. While certain aisles feel dark enough to conceal a raccoon, others have the glare of an interrogation room. It's more optic roulette than easy shopping for senior citizens who are struggling to see through bifocals. It can feel like avoiding booby traps when navigating the aisles. Every bend becomes a crash course due to narrow roadways clogged with seasonal trash cans. It's a place where you could lose your shopping list and yourself if you run into a display of plastic pumpkins. Additionally, Kroger presents a wall of machines at checkout, just when seniors need a little human interaction. Self-checkout has become the chain's main focus, and staffed lanes are being phased out like dinosaurs. The coupon scanners malfunction like cheap fireworks. The touchscreens react like molasses. And if you make even one mistake, you have to wait while the lone employee balancing 6 machines runs over with the key of shame. In the belief that everyone will figure it out, some establishments have gone so far as to completely eliminate actual cashiers during slower hours. This isn't advancement, it's punishment, with a receipt for senior citizens who prefer a smile over a system fault. Their purported offers may seem like bait-and-switch puzzles. Seniors frequently spot a sale sign on the shelf and are charged full price at checkout because they forgot to digitally clip it in the Kroger app, which is infamously glitchy and maze-like, with mazeways where it hides digital coupons behind more menus than an old Windows PC. There's nothing like being caught off guard by an unexpected cost because the barcode was hidden behind a pop-up advertisement 4 swipes deep. Additionally, many elderly customers don't want to perform digital gymnastics simply to buy soup, but younger buyers are adept at using smartphones. What ought to be a saving experience turns into a degrading pop quiz, and the store takes the winnings. The pharmacy, which used to be the last stronghold of dependability, has also failed. More people are complaining about prescription mix-ups, long wait times, and tired pharmacists than there are paper towels. This isn't a minor inconvenience for elderly people who are taking several medications. It's pill bottles and Russian roulette. Additionally, don't be duped by Kroger's straightforward Truth Line's gentle green packaging. Investigations have revealed inconsistent labeling, ambiguous ingredient lists, and exorbitant costs that make it just marginally less expensive than national brands, despite its claims of being healthy and organic. In actuality, you're paying for words of consolation rather than necessarily safer meals. Kroger has subtly transformed from a trustworthy anchor into a glamorous obstacle course for older Americans. It sucks away clarity, patience, and trust, while selling the promise of ease in a loud, perplexing, and uncaring manner. And the most inhumane aspect, seniors are expected to keep up or fall behind, but being older doesn't mean you have to accept less. It entails making higher demands, more stores that recognize that shopping should be easy and not a survival challenge while wearing sale tags, more clarity, and more respect. 6th place, safe route. Safe route. Saying the name is like letting out a breath. It has a soothing, protective sound similar to the seatbelt at the grocery store. However, entering a Safeway has begun to seem more like boarding a roller coaster that you weren't invited to ride for many elderly shoppers. The lights may hum with that clinical we care glow, the floors may be shiny, and the aisles may be big enough to park a Buick. However, if you scrape behind the polish, the fissures will begin to show like picnic ants. Because although Safeway's logo conveys a sense of security, uncertainty is what lies beyond those neatly arranged shelves. And the one thing that seniors cannot afford is uncertainty. The most common grievance among senior consumers? It's so inconsistent that it's like shopping roulette. When the shelves are completely stocked one day, you may imagine that this excursion won't cause your blood pressure to rise. It feels like looters are passing through the next time. Milk with a 48-hour expiration date. Dentures could be chipped by bread with a crust so firm. Rotisserie chickens that appear to have been prepared under a desk lamp and kept in a snowbank because they are cool in the center but Sahara dry on the outside. That's sabotage and shrink wrap, not a nuisance for elderly on fixed incomes. Budgets and meal plans cannot be based on a store that plays peekaboo with its own stock. The savings follow, which frequently seem like a joke. The key is that the original costs are inflated to make the discount appear heroic, but Safeway proudly displays its club card bargains like golden tickets. You're basically penalized for simply existing. If you don't have that card, download an app, make an account, attach a phone number, and perform a little prayer dance at the register. Several elderly people have complained that they were charged an additional $5 or $6 per item simply for failing to tap a digital voucher. That's a bait and switch with a loyalty badge on it, not a savings offer. It's similar to paying a cover fee to enter your own pantry. It doesn't get any prettier behind the scenes. Chronic understaffing has left departments appearing like ghost towns, according to former employees. Spills aren't cleaned up, food isn't rotated correctly, and client inquiries frequently float aimlessly ignored. It is common for seniors who want assistance reaching top shelf items or finding a moved product to be ignored, not because they are being impolite, but because no one is there to show concern. Additionally, they frequently receive ambiguous instructions rather than actual help when they do find someone. Once a source of pride, the deli counter is now a silent warning. According to insiders, deli meats and cheeses occasionally spend the night in metal trays before being replaced with a fresh top layer the following morning to give the appearance of newly cut. This unpleasant little trick is likely familiar to everyone who has ever eaten turkey that rotted too quickly or deli ham that felt strangely rubbery. Particularly for aging immune systems that cannot afford surprises, what appears to be convenience can actually be infection. The drugstore, which is supposed to be a secure haven for elderly people, is also failing. There are more and more reports of understaffed counters, lengthy wait times, and prescription problems. After 20 minutes of waiting in line, one senior said they were informed that their prescription had been misplaced in the system, like a laundry sock gone missing. Not only is that careless, but it's frightening for elderly Americans who rely on their medications to keep their hearts beating and their minds sharp. Despite its claims of relaxation, Safeway frequently offers turmoil under neat lighting. And for seniors who are already struggling with limited funds, deteriorating health, and a world that moves too quickly, turmoil is the one thing they didn't come for. 7. Whole Foods. Whole Foods' halo is so well worn that you hardly see what's behind it. The avocados appear so well staged that they could be trying out for a cover of a design magazine, the shelves shine like museum exhibits, and the soft lighting hums like a spa. However, a store's eucalyptus scent and upscale prices do not necessarily indicate that it is safe, particularly for elderly customers who are trying to stretch pensions that already feel like elastic that is about to break. In actuality, Whole Foods might be one of the most deceptive grocery stores available. A velvet trap surrounded by kale. The wallet is the first place where the issue arises. Everyone is aware that Whole Foods is pricey, but the idea of value rather than the actual cost is what hurts. Many seniors enter believing they are paying more for superior quality, but in practice they are frequently purchasing the same packaged goods and mass-distributed produce that can be bought in regular stores, although with earth tone labels and minimalist fonts. Deli snack packs, minestrone, mozzarella, sliced fruit, pre-washed lettuce, and porcini. Many of these products are sourced from the same outside vendors that big box retailers use. The markup, which can reach 20 to 40%, is the only significant difference. That adorable little fruit cup can cost $6 here, but it would only cost $3 abroad. Shopping on a fixed income is therefore not only annoying, but it also represents real-time financial deterioration. Then comes freshness, or more accurately, its polished theater. Several former employees have acknowledged that many of the local products that Whole Foods proudly displays are really sourced locally, often hundreds of miles away, through large distributors. It would be equivalent to referring to something as homemade since it was constructed somewhere, in a home. Watchdog groups have even called attention to the sparkling fish exhibits for being mislabeled. Sometimes frozen fillets were disguised as fresh, since they thawed after transportation for days. For senior consumers looking for pure, premium proteins, That is not a small mistake. Without a catcher, that is a trust fall. Another glossy mirage is the well-known hot food bar. It appeals to seniors since it offers a quick lunch that doesn't require cooking. However, insiders have disclosed that leftover trays are frequently scraped down, recycled, reheated, reseasoned, and served the following day. Logs of temperatures frequently left empty. What about the cost? A simple hot bar plate can weigh as much as a supper at a sit-down restaurant. It's not premium to spend $15 on squishy tofu and lukewarm lentils. This is highway robbery done right. Older clients are also negatively impacted by the design. Whole Foods prioritizes design over functionality. Like a designer's labyrinth, the aisles wind around. Like puzzle pieces, categories are dispersed. Additionally, benches and rest areas are almost legendary. Although they may appear adorable on Instagram, carts are smaller and more difficult to use, which is like torture for aged joints. Yes, it is gorgeous. But when all you have to do is sit, breathe, and maintain your equilibrium, beauty doesn't help. The terrible punchline is that, beneath its slick exterior, Whole Foods has subtly transformed into a place that encourages young, challenges endurance, and empties wallets. It's the ideal way to end this list because for older consumers, it can feel like paying for luxury and encountering challenges. A reminder that even the most well-maintained chains can conceal the most serious problems in today's supermarket game. Seniors are being overpaid, neglected, and ignored by everything from the organic illusion at Whole Foods to the phony deals at Dollar General. However, strength comes from awareness. Challenge the slogans. Pay attention to the price tags. Additionally, keep in mind that not all deals are genuine. Sometimes it's just a disguised warning printed on 30% recycled paper. Demand safer stores by joining us and subscribing, because the first step in preserving what remains of us is speaking the truth. I appreciate you staying to the very end. To ensure you don't miss our daily content, please remember to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you found this video useful. Please feel free to see some of our most recent and top-rated videos that are now shown. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.